Before the story starts, please like, comment and subscribe today. The air in the room crackled with tension. John, his face twisted in a familiar scowl, loomed over Sarah. Her heart pounded against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the silence of the room.
Don't you dare defy me.
He backhanded her, the force of the blow sending her crashing to the floor. His words, laced with threats and accusations, washed over her. Sarah lay there, bruised and broken, the life slowly draining from her eyes. She knew then, in the pit of her being, that she couldn't stay, not anymore. A flicker of defiance sparked within her. She was pregnant, carrying his child, yet he treated her worse than an animal.
That night, while he slept, fueled by cheap beer and empty promises, I made my decision. I would escape.
Packing a single bag, she tiptoed out of the house, the cool night air a balm on her raw skin. John's words echoed in her ears, a constant reminder of the danger she was in. But even the fear couldn't extinguish the ember of hope that had ignited within her. Sarah was finally free. The bus journey was long and arduous. Sarah, clutching her meager belongings, felt the miles stretching endlessly before her. Her destination, a small coastal town in Mexico. A place where John would never think to look for her. A place to start over. The town welcomed her with open arms.
I found a job as a waitress in a bustling little cafe, my days filled with the clatter of dishes and the murmur of conversations in a language I barely understood. It wasn't much, but it was enough. It was honest work, a far cry from the gilded cage John had kept me in.
The fear, however, was a constant companion. It lurked in the shadows, whispered in the wind, and tightened its grip around her heart every time a stranger glanced her way. Every knock on the door sent a jolt of terror through her. Was it John, coming to drag her back to her gilded cage?
As my belly grew, so did my determination. I would build a new life here, for myself and my child. A life free from fear, from pain, from John.
Years flew by in a blur of sun-drenched days and starlit nights. Sarah's daughter Lily was the light of her life. Her laughter was music to Sarah's ears, her smile a beacon of hope that chased away the lingering shadows of the past. Sarah had built a good life for them. She had learned the language, embraced the culture, and found a community that embraced her as one of their own. The cafe owner, Maria, had become a mother figure to her own children like siblings to Lily.
Yet, the fear remained, a persistent undercurrent to my happiness. I taught Lily to be wary of strangers, my heart clenching with every whispered bedtime story about monsters and villains. Every time Lily asked about her father, my heart would ache with a mixture of love and dread.
The thought of John finding them, of ripping Lily away from the only life she had ever known, was a nightmare Sarah couldn't escape. It haunted her dreams, cast a pall over her happiest moments, and kept her constantly looking over her shoulder. One sweltering afternoon, a shadow fell across the cafe doorway. Sarah looked up, her breath catching in her throat. Standing there, a hesitant smile playing on his lips, was John. Years had etched lines on his face, streaks of grey in his hair, but his eyes, they still held the same glint of cold, calculating cruelty that had haunted her nightmares. He was accompanied by a woman, her features hardened, her eyes narrowed in suspicion.
Sarah, this is my sister Laura. We found out about Lily.
We just want to get to know our niece.
Laura stepped forward, her smile as brittle as cracked porcelain. Fear, cold and paralyzing, gripped Sarah's heart. They had found her. After all these years, John had found her. Her carefully constructed world, the life she had built brick by bloody brick, was crumbling around her.
What are you afraid of, Sarah?
He'll take her. He'll take Lily away from me.
Ned, a towering figure with eyes that held the wisdom of battles fought and won, pulled Sarah aside. He had served in the military, his calm demeanor and quiet strength a stark contrast to John's volatile presence. He had been drawn to Sarah from the moment he had walked into the cafe, her quiet strength mirroring his own.
Not if I have anything to say about it. I won't let him hurt you, I promise.
His words, spoken with such conviction, ignited a spark of hope within Sarah. For the first time since John's arrival, she allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, they could weather this storm. The air hung heavy with unspoken words and simmering tension. John and Laura had rented a room in the village, their presence a dark cloud hanging over Sarah's newfound peace. They showered Lily with gifts, their smiles strained, their motives clear. They were here to take Lily away.
Ned, ever vigilant, wouldn't let Sarah or Lily out of his sight. He knew John. He saw the manipulation lurking beneath the surface, the carefully constructed facade of a reformed man. Ned had seen his kind before, on battlefields and in dark alleys. He knew the danger they posed.
One night, under the cloak of a moonless sky, Ned caught John trying to coax Lily away. Fury, cold and absolute, washed over him. He confronted John, his voice low and dangerous.
"Don't ever try that again," he growled, his words laced with a threat that sent shivers down John's spine.
John, taken aback by Ned's intensity, stumbled back. He blustered, he threatened, but the fear in his eyes betrayed his bravado. Ned, a man of action, not words, stood his ground. He would protect Sarah and Lily, no matter the cost. The truth unraveled slowly, like a carefully woven tapestry coming undone thread by thread. Laura, it turned out, wasn't John's sister. She was his girlfriend, her loyalty lying with the man who promised her a life free from the drudgery of her existence.
John hadn't changed. He was still the same manipulative, abusive man Sarah had fled all those years ago. He had lied to Laura, painting Sarah as an unfit mother, a woman who had abandoned her child and her responsibilities. He needed Lily, not out of love, but out of desperation. His latest scheme had fallen apart, leaving him indebted to dangerous men. Lily, he believed, was his ticket out, his bargaining chip.
Sarah listened, her heart breaking, as the man she once loved revealed the depths of his depravity. Lily, her eyes wide with confusion and hurt, clung to Sarah's leg, seeking solace in the familiar comfort of her mother's embrace. Ned, his jaw clenched, his eyes blazing with righteous anger, took charge. He contacted the authorities, his military background giving him an air of quiet authority that even the most jaded officials couldn't dismiss. He laid out the facts, Sarah's story corroborated by the fear that flickered in John and Laura's eyes.
John, realizing the game was up, made a desperate attempt to escape.
But Ned, anticipating his move, intercepted him. The ensuing struggle was short and brutal, years of pent-up anger fueling Ned's every blow. In the end, John lay defeated, his dreams of escaping justice as shattered as the life he had tried to destroy.
Laura, her loyalty finally wavering in the face of John's true nature, confessed everything. She revealed John's lies, his schemes, his desperate plan to sell Lily to clear his debts. Her testimony, laced with regret and a flicker of newfound independence, sealed John's fate.
The morning sun painted the sky in hues of hope and renewal. John and Laura were gone, taken away by the authorities, their toxic presence finally lifted from Sarah and Lily's lives. The village, a tight-knit community bound by loyalty and love, rallied around Sarah and Lily, offering support and a safe haven.
Sarah, her heart lighter than it had been in years, watched Lily playing on the beach.
Ned, his arm wrapped protectively around her, met her gaze. His eyes, no longer hardened by the ghosts of war, held a warmth that melted away the last vestiges of Sarah's fear. In that moment, surrounded by the beauty of the life she had built, Sarah knew she was finally safe. The past, with its pain and fear, no longer had a hold on her. She was free to embrace the future, a future filled with love, laughter, and the unwavering promise of a new beginning. Subscribe to Shark Daddy Mako today.